we move right down to the budget so we can get rid of these guys?
Yes, we can.
Not that I, you know,
Okay.
Well, it's cold down here
well,
anyway.
you
No.
probably have,
It is cold down.
you
there.
probably have stuff to do, and I think you've got a
Yeah,
meeting
yeah,
at 7 o'clock,
yeah,
don't you?
yeah.
Yeah, we have a 7.
Yeah,
Both of us. Yeah.
okay, so.
See, I do go on the site, Dave.
Okay, so I sat with both Sue and Bob here with regard to what's on the budget in front of you. And we had some discussions about, I sent you some paperwork to look at with regard to the dip. Did that make any sense to you at all? Okay.
But
What,
to be honest with you, I've been trying to get a lot of things for free cash certified, so it was more like a skim through this and hopefully I can catch up on it.
is there anything any more information that I can provide to you with regard to this to help you to kind of
No, I mean,
understand?
I have the information, so it's just a matter of going over it, and then you were talking about the NSTAR credits that,
The Eversource
Yeah.
credits, which I got
Eversource
I got the reports today, which I can see that electric is still running way hotter than it should. And I understand you're brand new, trying to get up to speed with a $42 million budget. And mine is just this little piece of it. So again, we're gonna, I guess Sue is gonna continue working on that.
Do you
Without a-
understand what's going on there? That we pump back into the grid?
Yep.
And then
And
we,
there's credits for,
and then
yeah.
we sell it, I figure we sell it to town hall, the library. We don't sell to the schools.
It's basically our electric has two components to it. We have the expense that we go through, that we pay for the electric. We pay the Solar America for the electric, but in return, we get credits. So we have an expense kind of revenue thing that kind of balances off, and that she understands that, but
And we wouldn't have done phase two. We did 2 phases. We did a phase when we opened up.
yep.
And then we did a second phase. We did the second phase. We wouldn't have done the second phase if we weren't gonna reap something for it.
Right.
And
Exactly.
we knew that the electric company was not gonna give us, I mean, what you dump back on the grid, they sell it for like 3 times what they're gonna give you.
right.
So if we didn't actually have a commitment from the town, we wouldn't have done it, right?
Yeah, I took a commitment from the town and a contract with Solar America,
Right.
which outlines,
Yeah.
what
It was-
everybody's rights and responsibilities are.
It's more complicated. It's more complicated than I make it.
Yeah, it really is. It's a contractual obligation, but.
But that's why we watch it. It's part of our revenue.
Right. So, and that's again why the electric is running a lot warmer than it typically would at this particular point in time of year, because Meg LeMay was the one that was handling that, when she left, the people that were in the office with her just simply didn't pick that up. It was left to.
Unfortunately, she didn't share half of her workload with
And
anybody in the office.
that's been.
If I could see that report that was given to you, I can figure out what I need to do for you.
That's today. That Laura sent that to me today. So that's the latest and greatest information. And it's fine, as long as we get caught up by the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
Because what it becomes is, if we don't get that revenue, then at the end of the year, when the state certifies our retained earnings, we won't get credit for that. So it's the kind of thing that really kind of needs to happen before the end of the fiscal year, so that when the state certifies our retained earnings, it goes to the correct account, because otherwise it looks like an expense that we can ultimately cover, but if we're not getting the revenue, then it doesn't go to the right place at the end of the year.
But unfortunately too, that if we don't get it, and then we run out of money, then we go back to the town and say, okay, we're out of money. You guys have to cover that.
We can cover that.
Well, I'm just saying.
We can cover that
The way it
within our
works.
budget.
The way it
because-
works.
Yes,
We
I know.
run out of money,
Yep.
the town covers.
Yep.
So it's best to have everything that we should have.
And I'm trying desperately to get away from the need for the town to cover the district's expenses, and we're getting there. It's coming a little bit slower than I had anticipated and was hoping for, but, I don't want the town to need to be responsible for the North Carolina
Yeah, and that's
district
kind of
expenses.
it's kind of the board's position.
I get it. Nobody likes the fact that the district needs to be subsidized, not district commissioners. Nobody has ever heard me say, oh, geez, I really like the idea that the town of Carver's covering me. I've never said that. Don't like it. It's a cause and effect from decisions that were made in 2008.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm on this.
Right.
I'm not a water person. I'm an accountant. My goal was to get us in the black. Because it should have always been in the black. The original plan, we would have always been in the black.
Yeah.
But we don't even want to get into what
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
15 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's move
And-
forward.
Exactly. The past
You
is
know,
past, and when we
we're
need
trying to go forward.
We need to try to figure this out. So if everybody's looking down the list, water use charges. We had talked about maybe doing an increase this year. I had done a little bit of research on water rates for area towns.
Which I had asked for.
Yes, you did. I did Middleborough, Plymouth, Kingston, and Wareham. Because Wareham has the Wareham Fire District. Middleborough does a quarterly of $57.25, and that's for 500 cubic feet of water. Now, we do 50, 10, 50, 2, 10, 50, 10, I think, and that's for 1,000. Anything above the 500 cubic feet that they credit you for the quarter, they're charging anywhere from $369 for 1,000 to $973 per 1,000, depending on, they have steps from 501 cubic feet to 250,001 cubic feet. Plymouth is a little bit more reasonable. They have a quarterly base of $25, but they charge for all of the cubic feet. They don't credit you any cubic feet. They start anywhere from 170 to 350 for anywhere from 0 cubic feet to 4,501 cubic feet.
So they don't have a minimum.
They don't have a minimum. They do a $25 quarterly charge, a quarterly base, and then they charge you for all of the water that they use. $25 probably covers their billing cost, much like we do a quarterly charge.
Yeah. I wonder why they do it that way.
That's just the way they do it. I'm not quite sure why, but
That's the whole municipality, Plymouth?
all of Plymouth has the
Yeah.
same water. All of these towns have the same water rate for the service areas that they cover. Now, Middleborough covers their entire town. I'm under the understanding that they cover at least most of their town.
Yeah, Plymouth isn't all water.
No.
Yeah.
So
still
Plymouth
some.
has got wells.
Yeah, probably down
It
toward the
depends on
south.
where you are.
Yeah.
Manomet
Yeah.
probably has a lot of private wells in it. Ellis Haven, that area probably has a lot
Yeah,
of
Ellis,
private wells.
I was just gonna say,
That's
Ellis
way
Haven's
down.
got
That's-
wells.
That's way down there. Again, this is what they do, but it's not they're not treating any of their clients differently because they can't. You're not allowed to treat your clients differently. Commercial properties can be charged for the water that they use based on a tiered system, but you have to, it has to be equal for everybody.
We're doing this because we haven't asked for more money in 3 years. And I think that's like a long time.
Yep.
to-
So where do we sit? Is it roughly in the middle of all? of
We're
them?
not, we're high.
You're higher than the
We're
others?
we're higher than most. And in large part because we service such a small area.
yeah.
You know, most towns, even those that have districts, cover a lot more
Yeah,
surface
they
area.
spread it out
than
over
than
more
we do.
users, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that would be the kind of thing that, you know, if we could spread it out across the larger
Mm-hmm.
area, then that would probably service ours better, but,
And we also wanted to sell 100,000 gallons a day, and we're only selling 30.
yeah,
So, I
we're,
mean, that's a big, that's an enormous detriment to the commission.
Right.
I mean, when you, now the plant could actually handle 250,000.
yeah, we could.
So
Yeah, with some
there was
minor
a lot-
upgrades,
there was a lot
we
of
could
planning that went into this.
easily handle a lot more.
And when we were trying to plan, we were trying to think of the future, and we were thinking of like North Carver Industrial Park being full, you know, having, you know, not being the barren landscape that it is now.
Yeah, yep.
And we thought we were going to sell 100,000 gallons a day, and then the big three, the big three
Not what happened.
messed us up, and so we're high, but that's why we're high.
Right. Kingston has a quarterly base of 36, and they have a tiered rate that goes anywhere from $2.50 for 1,000 gallons to $6.25, for anywhere from 0 to 80,001 plus. But what I found interesting was that they have a water rate, water for resale, which might be something that we want to include if we're going to do a rate hearing, we might want to include that for people who draw from the fill station. If we could, it's 5 cents a gallon,
Oh,
5 cents per gallon. It's a flat rate. If you purchase water for the purposes of resale, like the Indian Head Water does, it's 5 cents a gallon. Now that's for Kingston, and we'll need to think about what we want that to be, but 5.5 or 6 cents per gallon sounds reasonable to me.
and that would be better than what we're doing now.
Well, it would apply to everybody. You know, anybody who draws from the fill station. So we might want to talk about that and consider that.
So would that be for like filling pools
Yeah,
and things?
exactly. That's what he does. He has a permit. Indian Head Water is based out of Hanson, and he has a permit, but he can only draw so much for his permit as well. I mean, his permit is probably larger than ours, but he can only draw so much from his before DEP says stop right there. So.
And the guy across the street,
Yes,
SL
SLT.
SLT, they have their own, but what they'll do is they'll
He fills.
come get additional water.
Yeah, he fills his tanks because he does the hydro.
But that's strictly a summer thing, you know?
Yep. Wareham has an annual fee of $120, which is $30 per quarter, and they credit you with 2,000 cubic feet. Anything above 2,000 cubic feet is charged at anywhere from 85 cents to $3.85 per 100 cubic feet. And we're at, right now, Carver is quarterly at 59.06, and we credit 1,000 gallons. And we're at 10.40 per thousand right now.
So we're gonna increase the water usage?
Well, I
Based
mean,
on what
it's-
you just said.
This is the question, and you know I ask this question every year. Should we raise the water rate? Now, this rate would be
I would like to have,
effective.
I would like to have a hearing.
Okay. The hearing is absolutely necessary if we're going to consider a water rate increase. We absolutely have to have a hearing.
Because I still think 3 years is a long time, even if we're high.
Okay.
3 years is a long time to keep the same rate.
What would the proposed increase be?
Well, we'd have to have a hearing and talk about it.
But I need to put that in the hearing notice. We need to give the people who would be impacted, could be impacted by this, an opportunity to come and talk about
We
it.
talked about what, 1.5%?
I'm not sure what kind of decision was being made at last meeting, but
Well, you want to hold off on the posting the hearing until?
we can do that. The rate would not become effective until July 1st anyway.
Right, we've got time.
We do.
We've got time. Put it on the agenda for next,
Okay,
put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
To talk about it and, you know, come up with a number.
okay.
So are you gonna leave the 87,000 at 87? Should we change that, like, just before town meeting?
I would prefer not to do it at town meeting. I would prefer to have the number that we're gonna use
Yeah.
tonight.
Oh,
Fine, then leave it at 87.
Okay. With the caveat that, you know, if we generate more revenue than we think that we're going to, then what ends up happening is it goes into the retained earnings.
It'll be there for next year.
Right, exactly. You know, we can't make too much money.
yeah,
We certainly can't make too much money. Okay, so you wanna leave it at 87 for now?
Right.
Okay. Okay, and we voted to transfer from the retained earnings that we have, the 552 and change, 50,000.
Are we gonna go line by line?
so can I ask you a question on
Sure.
that? So how much do you have in the retained earnings? 500
551.
550, so why only transfer 50,000?
My thinking there is that because we still have $6.5 million in debt. And if we spend that nut, one of the mistakes that we made early on was that we spent down the nut that we had and ended up with nothing. So meant that we had to go to the town so that we could so that we could be subsidized. Basically what we're doing is we're trying to eliminate the need for a subsidy. If we only use 50,000, and this was Steve's thought last time around, if we use 50,000, we can continue to do that for a few years.
He had it lower.
I had it much lower.
Really?
I made him increase it by 50,000.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
And
Right.
and my theory is also that we know we've got a membrane replacement coming down the road,
At some point.
and those membranes are not cheap. We're talking what, 4 or 5 million? A lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. It's not. I don't think it's quite that much, but the membranes for the xenon plants are not inexpensive.
right.
I mean, if you look at last year, if you look at last year,
552,768.
I mean, if you look at what we asked for last year out of free cash and what we're asking for this year, there's an enormous difference. Enormous.
Which is in large part made available to us because we are using some chunk of that retained earnings.
But I would think that if we found out the town was in dire straits, that I, speaking for myself,
Okay.
wouldn't have a problem taking the 46 and going to 0. But I'm always thinking of the future, and I'm thinking if you do it now, and then we can't pay for our debt in 5 years,
Right.
then we'll come
All of a sudden, we're
The town?
back asking for a subsidy. And
in 5 years, the town might be.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying
think the
to
goal
avoid.
is to bring it down
Yeah.
progressively, you know?
My objective here is to kind of bring it down to that 0 point and make sure that we never have to come
Yeah,
back
yeah.
again. And that's
There's
and
no
that's
sense
what
in
I'm
playing the
that's what I'm
yo-yo.
trying to do.
Yeah,
No sense in, not this year.
Yeah.
Oh, next year we need 250,000.
Exactly.
We were trying to do it gradually.
Right.
But like I said, if the town's in dire straits, I don't know what the town's finances are right now.
It's never pretty, Steve. It's no prettier now than it was when you were treasurer collector.
I mean-
Okay? It's never any different than that.
I mean, I know that everybody wants to spend everything they can get their hands on. And if it turns out that, there's no money for people to buy one-time things at town meeting, that I'm sure we can come up with the 46.
Right, which brings us to, okay, and again.
Which would get us to zero.
We're gonna transfer out of the stabilization account that amount that should technically belong to this year's budget, which was 96.4. IRS subsidy, again, we're gonna ask the federal government for that. Kathy sent me an email a few weeks ago that says that they came through for FY '22, so we're good there. Pilot and diff, I'm still not convinced that finance has that 100% correct, but at this particular point in time, we need to move on in the interest of getting the budget done so that everybody has a chance to see this, because it's important that we get this in front of everybody so that they can have the conversation. Transfer from general fund, I did suggest transfer from building and capital stabilization account instead. Was that something that you had a chance to look into? As opposed to free cash?
I would lean towards free cash at this point.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna leave that alone. Beyond that, we made some adjustments to we can't do anything about debt service. Debt service is a schedule. That's that service, you know how it is, Steve. It comes off first.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And we made some adjustments in some of these lines. Repair and maintenance facilities. Electric, we did increase a little bit because we are contractually obligated to a 2% increase with them every year. We tucked a little bit more away in our reserve account. We eliminated one line that was for billing support or something like that, and you'll probably see that in this month's billing packet. That technically should come out of other contracted services.
Yeah, we don't know about the small waterworks. That's up
Yes,
June
and
30th.
that's
That's up June 30th.
Yeah.
So my suggestion was, I had a problem with sticking it in that line item, and then them knowing it was there.
No.
Like they
To
can't
know
tell-
how to
like-
write
like
out a
they can't
bill.
tell anything.
Right.
So it was my idea to stick it in the reserve fund, and then if it, we can easily move it, when we do know.
Right.
I mean, it's too easy. It's too easy if you say $60,000 a year, then they submit you a bid for $60,000.
Yep.
Right?
So anyway, and
So are you gonna go out for bids for that?
I hope not.
I'm not quite
think it's under
certain.
David.
Yeah, we need to. I
Yeah.
need to talk to them first.
We're all tied together, so I think it's your
Dave-
contract must be up too.
Dave Seidentopf, I need to have the conversation with Dave Seidentopf
Yeah.
and Small Water Systems before we issue an RFP.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to doing that. I think we probably should. It's been a couple of years since we've done that with them, and I know procurement rules are what they are, and we should probably do an RFP for them.
See, the town uses them also.
It does.
See the bill. See the bill. This is
Yeah.
us. This is Cranberry Village. This is the town.
Yep. And the.
So,
they
but this
also-
is
they
all
also
under
handle-
one.
they
It's all
also-
under one
they also handle
contract.
the
Oh,
school-
okay.
They also handle the schools under a totally different contract. That leaves us with a balanced surplus of 2777, which you can use to play with for indirect costs. Now you understand why indirect costs are as high as they are. Okay. We want to keep those in this budget. We want to keep indirect. I think it's. I'm of the opinion that indirect costs are the responsibility of the enterprise fund to pay. I get it that we're being subsidized and paying indirect costs all at the same time, so it's kind of a wash. But we want to leave it in this particular budget. I think
So you didn't get to talk to them about the 67.
the 67,
Yeah, my problem.
your problem?
Remember I said that in
Yes.
one year,
The six-
in one
yeah,
year,
The 67.
it went up $13,000. When they created, from the time that they created her position, not the one that May had,
Yeah.
right? My question was, our indirect cost went up $13,000. So my question was, did we get $13,000 worth of work?
It also, and Steve, remember, it also coincided with Dave Siedentop as well. Because that department was revamped at the same time.
Yeah.
That department was revamped
Yeah.
as well.
I guess if I'm gonna spend a buck, I want a buck's worth.
Yeah,
I want a buck's worth of work. And I thought that 13,000 was a lot of,
it's probably a percentage, right? Is that how he
It
broke
is.
it down?
Yeah, but
Yes.
I would do it like as a, like,
It is.
general fund, the two enterprise funds, total what that is, and then what your percent of the overall total is of the three budgets.
Yes.
And then,
But-
but it's not supposed to be all of accounting or all of
No,
O&M.
and in the
Even
past it
that
hasn't
percentage,
been.
it's supposed to be like the one person that does the work for that,
Right.
you know,
Amanda.
enterprise.
Amanda does.
yeah, the
that
breakdown,
does-
the
does
breakdown
work
they
for
gave
us.
us was, the finance office was 14,000.
Yep.
The PEP office was 5,000. This is all salary. Town administrator was 7,700. And the facilities, the actual building, the use of the buildings was 31,000. So, do we really?
You pay me
Are you giving-
$7,700?
It's an analysis
So,
that would
yeah.
have to be looked
Yeah.
at going forward, but we
Yeah.
need to do
Are you
it.
giving us
No,
77?
that wasn't me. That's a former.
Do you see where I'm coming from though?
You only giving me 5,000.
But,
Yeah, yeah. So put that on
I mean, I'm sorry. but-
FY 23's list.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And again, we can live with this as an overall. I don't think it's perfect, but we can live with it for now. Again, the district is interested in being cooperative with the town with regard to the way monies move. I guess that's how I'll leave that.
So basically, what you're saying is, we're presenting this. If the town's gonna have a problem with it, I guess they'll just have to get back to us.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
again-
this year's done.
Yeah. we're
So
not
next
gonna have a
year.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're good for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can vote the budget.
If we need to do some tweaks and say, what's this, and why don't we believe this number is correct, we have a year and a half to do it before we get to the next budget.
Well, no.
Well, less
not-
than that.
For a year and a half before it kicks in.
Yeah, before it kicks in.
But we start
And again, this is
7 months.
this is the thing that
Well, it's
people,
nice. It's
people
nice that we're
in
good.
town don't get to see where the
Yeah, yeah.
sausage gets made.
yeah.
Steve and myself and Will are making our best guess about what's gonna happen
No, I know it. I
18
know.
months from now.
Yeah, yeah.
I could
All of
just-
us do
I-
that.
yeah,
It's all a-
Exactly,
it's all a-
and people don't really understand how that
Yeah.
works. They're immune from it. They're insulated from it, even though they're really responsible for the ones that, they're the ones that are writing the checks. It's how the sausage gets made,
Yeah.
and it's never pretty. And I get that. Steve gets that. He's former treasurer collector. He knows. Will knows. I mean, we've all, yeah.
Will knows.
Will knows. He does.
I'm thinking out loud here.
Okay.
Amanda and I have had conversations, and I've talked to our software company, that if we integrate your billing system with our software.
We wanted to do a soft right thing
Okay.
in the past, but the nut was just a little bit too large for us to carry.
Okay,
Now, Meg did propose that it might be the kind of software that works well for police details, and other departments might be able to use the software, the billing software that you would use within the SoftWrite system. I would love to be able to make that happen. We might need to get buy-in from police department, DPW, I don't know what other departments do actual
Well,
billing.
We have Cranberry Village that we do billing for.
Yes.
And, you know,
Okay,
you guys.
and that would eliminate, because the software that Amanda's using is
Is-
outdated, it's not secure.
Right, and it takes her forever just to sign into the program.
Yes.
It's like it's wasting a lot of her time.
Yes, and
So I did
yes.
put in a call to SoftWrite.
Okay,
and
just to see
they're supposed
what
to-
that component would cost. Get back to us, because,
Okay.
you know, we're.
As long as you're amenable to it.
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
wanna just make changes without.
absolutely.
We don't have anything etched in stone, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Except for debt service.
Yeah,
That's etched in stone.
that doesn't change.
No, that doesn't change, and it's still $6.5 million, 6.7, I think
I mean, I think-
$6.7 million still left on the books for
Yeah,
us
I
for the
think-
next 29 years.
I think we appreciate everything that the town's done for us, and that's why we try to stay as flexible as possible with that common goal that we want to get in the black, because we presented it that it was gonna be in the black,
Yeah, we did.
and it leaves a bad taste in our mouth that we're in the red.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it does.
That's the only way I can put
Yes,
it.
yes, it does. I'm left with a sour taste about all of that. Again, decisions that were made in 2008,
Yep.
so. Okay,
Okay, you
All
can
right.
vote your budget.
do you want to,
I'll make a motion
Steve wants to make a motion.
that we
Approve the FY
Approve.
'23.
fiscal 23's budget as presented tonight.
Okay, I will second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kevin votes yes too, it's unanimous.
So did you have anything else you wanted to talk to us about?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Sure, no, my mind's now
Did,
clicking into finance
Did
meeting.
you have an electronic version of that, or I can send you one?
Oh, yeah, you
I
need a
believe
clean
you did
copy of
send-
it,
Yeah, you
right?
did send it.
Okay,
I'm thinking about water. Water. We had a problem where the water went out for an hour.
Oh, I talked to Kevin about that, and you we
Is that,
talked about it.
is that
yeah.
all resolved?
Yeah, right
I
now.
have an incident,
Right.
an incident report that crossed my desk today about what happened there, so
Yeah.
we can have that.
Because that's not supposed to happen.
No, I know. Sometimes things happen though, either power goes out or something glitch in the software or something.
Well, I
So-
think about it, I think it was a windy day, and we do have difficulty with power surge in the plant that we want to address. I've already touched base with Dave Siedentoff, he hasn't gotten back to me. We're probably gonna have to do an RFP to get the necessary upgrades to the treatment plant to prevent power surge from affecting our VFDs, because anytime
Yeah,
electricity goes through, it cuts back and then jumps back up again, the VFDs go,
Yep.
and that shuts the plant down.
Yeah, the other issue was some way to notify users when there's an issue. Like either
Again,
a
you know,
reverse,
notifying
I know.
individuals is, you know,
if there's a
it's always
reverse
problematic.
robocall that can go out or something like that.
Yeah.
How does the police?
Yeah, the police
They
said,
Yeah, how
have,
does
they
the
have
pol-
that for emergencies, yeah.
Yeah, but
But
is
I don't know
that
if you can target just, I would assume you can target a small group.
in Abington, we had Nixle, and if you
Yeah, we
subscribe
have that
to it,
in my town,
you
yeah.
automatically get notification. So this
Yeah.
goes through the police department, you send the police department, blah, 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 this is going on, and you, as a citizen, can register to be part of that Nixle.
okay.
And whether it's a police issue, a
Mm-hmm.
water issue, a snow issue, they send it out to your phones and whatever your
Somebody,
preferred method.
everybody
Yeah.
gets a text message.
Everybody that
Yeah.
signed up, yeah.
Everybody that signed up gets a text message or an email or something that
Yeah.
says, this is a problem, we're
Yeah.
aware.
now the police one's townwide? It's
They have a
everybody?
townwide one, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I know, I always get a message.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get upstairs and prepare.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
nice-
you,
it was
nice
nice
seeing
meeting
you,
you.
nice meeting you. Good luck.
Good luck to you.
I know. Thank you.
Mr. Fennessy,
See you
thank
later.
you.
Thank you. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
I'm
See you later.
sure, I'm sure. I'm in this building way too often. Okay, Route 44 development, when I get done here, I'm gonna go up to the redevelopment authority meetings at 6 o'clock and see what's up with that. So I'll be able to give you an update on that. Next month,
That's tonight?
redevelopment authorities tonight, yep. 6 o'clock, they started at 6.
Sure, it's not.
I'm pretty sure,
Room?
pretty sure it's upstairs.
The only thing I saw was the finance committee at 7.
Oh, she sent it to my other email. I don't have my other email on this one. Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, anyway, I have
Okay.
I have Gmail. I'm pretty sure it's 6 o'clock. We haven't heard anything new about Santana Way.
Which is funny, because if you go on,
It really is funny.
if you go on the real estate software,
I haven't seen any transfers, any transactions with regard to there for a while.
well, Mary said they sold unit 28.
Huh?
And I'm saying, how did they sell it without water?
He did say he was gonna do certain things, so.
Somebody down, somebody camera?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, so Montello Street is on hold until spring,
Yep.
probably in the next couple of weeks, actually. Water operators report, I got this, and I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. This came through, this was the incident that happened on
Yeah.
January 18th, date of January 18th. And then